Hello and welcome to my channel. My name's Karen with Fairy Garden Bath, and today we are going to be making a lip scrub. So let's get right to it. Okay, so our first ingredient I'm using berry sugar. Now you do not have to use a berry sugar, you can use just regular white granulated sugar. Next up, I'm putting in a honey powder. And next we have a watermelon powder. And I should mention I will have all the ingredients and amounts in the description box below. Next up we have stearic acid. And then we have our Ritamulse. I'm not sure if I'm saying that right. I apologize if I'm saying that wrong. And then for my oil, I'm putting in Apricot Kernel Oil. And then finally we have our watermelon Flavour Oil. And I'll be putting in a little bit of vitamin E. Okay, so first thing we're going to do is we're going to take our stearic acid and Ritamulse and add it into the apricot kernel oil. And then we will be heating this to melt them. Alright, so let's get this on the heat. And I'm just using a double boiler method, so there's about 1 inch of water in my little pot. And I'm gonna heat it on about medium heat. And while that is heating up, we will mix up our dry ingredients. So we're gonna take our sugar and our honey powder and watermelon powder and add that all together. And if you don't have the honey powder and the watermelon powder, you can omit it. They are optional. I'm just using them because the honey powder I like is a natural sweetener, and the watermelon powder is rich in vitamin C. I'm just going to give that a stir, and then I'm also using the watermelon powder as my colorant because it has a natural pink color to it. So this way I don't have to put a mica powder in. Now you can use a mica powder to color it, but you want to make sure that it is a lip safe mica, because there are some out there that are not lip safe. So make sure your mica is lip safe before using it. And you can see, well, you can kind of see it's a very pale pink. It does turn a little bit darker later when the liquid ingredients are added in. Okay, and now we just have to wait for our oils to melt. Okay, so everything is melted. And it is quite hot. Now you can add it immediately to the sugar if you want to. I like to let mine cool down a bit because we can't add the flavor oil and vitamin E until it's cooled down. So before mixing it all together, I do put the oil mixture in the fridge for about 10 minutes just to cool it off, because you can see here it is, I forget the exact temperature it was, but I think it was about like 155 or 158 Fahrenheit, somewhere in there. So too hot for the flavor oil and vitamin E. So I'm going to put it in the fridge and let it sit for about 20 minutes. And then when it has cooled down a bit, I'll bring you back. Okay, so yeah, so it's been about 10 minutes. The oil mixture is cooled down a little bit. I'm going to add it to the sugar. And as I was pouring it, some of the oil mixture had started to solidify a little bit, And if it does solidify on you, that is totally okay. You can still mix it into your sugar. Actually, the first batch I did let the oil mixture cool down quite a bit more, and it was kind of a, not solid, but sort of like a jelly texture. And I just mixed it into the sugar and it was totally fine. So if that happens to you, it's not a problem. You can still mix it. It's all good. Yeah, so we just want to mix it really well. Get everything blended together really good. Now, it is still too warm to add the Flavour Oil and vitamin E. So I am going to let this sit for probably another 20 minutes to half an hour and get it down to a cooler temperature. Okay, so it has been about 20 minutes. I checked the temperature and it is under 100 degrees, so we are good to go. I'm going to add in the Flavour Oil and vitamin E. And we'll give it a good stir, get everything incorporated really well. And you want to make sure that you're using a flavor oil, not a fragrance oil. Fragrance oils are not safe to use in lip products, so you want to specifically get a flavor oil, and there are a ton of options out there. So, yeah, there's lots to choose from. You can use essential oils, but you really have to know what you're doing and know what the safe amount of the essential oil is to put in for lip products. And I just stick to flavor oils because I know the safe limits to put in and that it is lip safe. And that's all mixed, so I'm going to let it sit for about another 10 minutes. So it's been about 10 minutes here just sitting on the counter, and it has firmed up a little bit more. It's not quite as runny. So we are good to get this all bottled up now. I'm just going to use a piping bag, but you can just use a spoon if you don't have a piping bag. That's not a big deal at all. I just find I have more control with the piping bag because the jars are a little on the smaller side. I'm using a 50-gram jar for my lip scrubs. And I just want to make sure I get all the product out so I'm not wasting any. There we go. And I wasn't smart and I cut the tip off my piping bag before putting in the lip scrub. And so some ends up blobbing out on me. So note to self, do not cut the tip off the piping bag until the product is in the bag. And then we'll just pipe it into our little jars. And I forgot my scale, so 1 second, I'm just going to go grab it. There we go. I want to make sure I get exactly 50 grams. There we go. Just going to tap it down a little bit to make sure that the jar is nice and full. And there we have a finished little lip scrub. So it's a pretty easy recipe. Like I said, the honey powder and watermelon powder are definitely optional. And for the fruit powders, there are lots of other options too. There's a strawberry powder, blueberry powder. So there's all different kinds of fruit powders you can use. The last batch I did I did strawberry. And there we go. That is how to make a lip scrub. Pretty easy. I hope you liked the video, and if you did, please give me a thumbs up, and a subscribe would be awesome. And we'll see you in the next one. Bye!